Hello and good evening. International ratings agency Fitch has estimated that though the Indian economy will contract by 5% during the ongoing financial year, the year 2021-22 will see a bounding bounce back, with the economy registering a 9.5% spurt. It has retained India's investment grade rating of BBB as well, and we'll get you all the details on Newsnight tonight on that story. I'm Gautam Roy. We'll also be discussing with our guests about the Atmanirbhar Bharat mantra given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the corporate world today via video link in Kolkata, where he said it's time to turn the COVID crisis into an opportunity by taking bold decisions and making investments. But first, our headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says COVID crisis is an opportunity to speed up the pursuit of Atmanirbhar Bharat goal. Time to take bold decisions and make investments. Addresses the 95th annual plenary meet of the Indian Chamber of Commerce via video link in Kolkata, tells the corporate world to come up with globally competitive domestic supply chains. Global ratings agency Fitch estimates India will grow at 9.5% in 2021-22 after contracting by 5% in the current fiscal. Says structural reforms undertaken in key sectors of the economy. Chief Economic Advisor K. Subramanian says rating agencies have accepted India's economic reforms. ICMR says COVID-19 pandemic in India is not at the community transmission stage. Infections per lakh of population much less compared to the global average. Mortality rate is also much lower. Serosurveillance results have been made public. Steps taken to contain the pandemic, such as nationwide lockdown, have proved to be successful. The number of recovered patients of COVID-19 climbs higher compared to those still actively infected. Over 1,41,000 patients discharged after recovering in India. Recovery rate goes up to 49.21% as well. Over 74 lakh people infected with the coronavirus across the globe. Death toll goes beyond 4.17 lakh. The series of flights bringing Indians stranded abroad back home keep landing in different cities. INS Shardul reaches Gujarat, bringing back 233 Indians stuck in Iran. Scores of people fly back home from the US, Canada and Europe under Vande Bharat mission. The MEA asserts that India and China are maintaining military and diplomatic engagements to peacefully resolve the Eastern Ladakh row at the earliest. Says both sides have agreed to work for an early resolution to the issue. In a sharp retort to Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's statement, India reminds him that the size of its economy stimulus package is as large as Pakistan's GDP. BJP continues with its Jan Samvad rallies across the nation. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar addresses a virtual rally in Gujarat, praises Prime Minister's steps to tackle COVID-19 pandemic. BJP workers start home-to-home campaign in Varanasi to distribute Prime Minister's letter. IIT Madras, IIC Bangalore and IIT Delhi bagged top 3 positions among educational institutions in the country in the HRD Ministry's National Institutional Ranking Framework. IIC Bangalore, Jawaharlal Nehru University and Banaras Hindu University are the top 3 universities. IIM Ahmedabad has been ranked as the top B school in the country. A first of its kind in the entire world, Indian Railways commissions first high-rise overhead equipment, becomes the first railway to run double-stack container train with high-reach pantograph in high-rise OHE territory. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed captains of Indian corporate world at the annual plenary meet of the Indian Chamber of Commerce in Kolkata through a video link. The PM reiterated his clarion call there of moving swiftly with the Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India mission to turn the COVID crisis into an opportunity. He said now is not the time for conservative approaches, but to take bold decisions and make investments.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the 95th annual plenary session of the Indian Chamber of Commerce in Kolkata through video link on Thursday, everyone wanted to know what prescription will he have for corporates on returning the country to the fast-track economic growth. While the Prime Minister shared his mantra of bringing the country back to the growth track with the corporate world, he also said that this is the time to take bold decisions and make investments.
ये समय इंडियन इकोनॉमी को कमांड एंड कंट्रोल से निकालकर प्लग एंड प्ले की तरफ ले जाना है। ये समय कंजर्वेटिव अप्रोच का नहीं है, बल्कि आगे बढ़कर बोल्ड डिसीजंस का है, बोल्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स का है। ये समय भारत में एक ग्लोबली कॉम्पिटिटिव डोमेस्टिक सप्लाई चेन तैयार करने का है। इसके लिए उद्योग जगत को अपनी मौजूदा सप्लाई चेन के सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स को संकट से निकालने में मदद भी करनी है और वैल्यू एडिशन में उनकी हैंड होल्डिंग भी करनी है।
The Prime Minister dwelt on the coronavirus crisis at length and stressed that to achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the crisis need to be turned into an opportunity. India will need to take steps to manufacture all those products on its soil, which it has to import.
अब तमाम सेक्टर्स, खासकर कोल और माइनिंग के सेक्टर को अधिक कॉम्पिटिटिव बनाने के लिए जो रिफॉर्म्स अनाउंस हुए हैं, उसका भरपूर फायदा उठाने के लिए उद्योग जगत आगे आए। मेरे युवा साथी, आप आगे आए।
Speaking about people, planet and profit, Prime Minister said that they may seem contrary to each other, but they are all connected and can move forward together. He said that his government has strengthened the concept of people, planet and profit over the last 5 to 6 years. The definition of MSMEs has been changed. Tens of thousands of crores have been set aside for helping MSMEs. The government has amended the APMC Act for the benefit of farmers for the first time after independence. Farm economy has been unshackled from the chains of slavery. Farmers can sell their produce to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Amendment of Essential Commodities Act has paved the way for partnership between farmers and industry. These steps can completely transform the farm and the rural economy. Prime Minister also said that several provisions in the Companies Act have been decriminalized. Insolvency and bankruptcy code has been implemented. Doors have been opened for commercial mining in the coal sector, and relaxations have also been granted to companies in extracting minerals. Referring to the efforts to develop the Northeast as a hub of organic farming, Prime Minister said the government's current cluster-based approach to local produce will provide opportunity for all. Campaign to free the country of single-use plastic will benefit West Bengal by furthering the jute business. He appealed to the corporate world to take organic farming to the global market, saying the government's recent decisions will benefit the Northeast a lot.
आप अगर चाहें तो ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट को लेकर के ग्लोबल मार्केट पर छा सकते हैं। साथियों, आप सभी नॉर्थ ईस्ट, पूर्वी भारत में इतने दशकों से काम कर रहे हैं। सरकार ने जो तमाम कदम उठाए हैं, इनका बहुत बड़ा लाभ ईस्ट और नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लोगों को होगा। मैं समझता हूं कि कोलकाता भी खुद फिर से एक बहुत बड़ा लीडर बन सकता है।
Prime Minister Modi also said that apart from the COVID crisis, India is also facing other perils like locust attacks, hailstorms, oil rig fires, series of mini earthquakes and 2 cyclones, but it has made the nation more resolute and resilient. Quoting a well-known poem by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, he said that the government is committed to turn the crisis into opportunity for all citizens.
गुरुवर टैगोर ने अपनी कविता नूतन जोगेर भोर में कहा है, चोलाए चोलाए बाजबे जोएर मेरी, यानी हर आगे बढ़ने वाले कदम पर घोषणाद होगा, दौड़ते पांव ही नया रास्ता बना देंगे, अब देरी मत करो.
Through his address, the Prime Minister gave a clear-cut message that the entire country has to be united behind the goal to attain a self-reliant India. The Prime Minister said the will to turn Atmanirbhar Bharat into reality is a potent force and big asset for the country. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, in the middle of the COVID crisis as well as the gloom, there's a silver lining. The world's third largest rating agency, Fitch, has said that though the Indian economy will shrink by 5% in the current financial year due to the pandemic and the lockdown, it will bounce back dramatically next financial year, registering a 9.5% spurt in GDP growth. Even S&P has retained India's sovereign rating at the BBB negative level, same as the last 12 years, despite the challenging situation. Here's more.
Global ratings agency Fitch has reinforced its strong belief in the strong fundamentals of Indian economy. It has said that after a contraction in the current financial year, India's economy is forecast to bounce back with a sharp growth rate of 9.5% next year. Fitch Ratings has forecast a 5% contraction in the GDP in the ongoing financial year. However, Fitch said that after the global crisis, India's GDP growth is likely to return to higher levels than BBB category peers. Listing positives for India, Fitch Ratings said that there was a greater confidence in a sustained reduction in general government debt over the medium term. It added that there is a possibility of higher sustained investment and growth rates without the creation of macroeconomic imbalances. On the other hand, another global rating agency, Standard & Poor's, has retained India's sovereign rating of BBB negative for the 13th year in a row, even as it said that economy and fiscal position will stabilize and begin to recover from 2021 onwards. It affirmed the outlook as stable. It has forecast India's economy to shrink by 5% in the current fiscal. It has, however, projected that GDP growth rate will be 8.5% in 21-22 and 6.5% in 22-23. India's chief economic advisor has said that India's reforms are being acknowledged by rating agencies. He added that reforms are critical elements for higher growth next year. He also said that economic growth this year will depend on when recovery happens.
This year, the growth being, very low, and possibly there being a decline in output is something that is part of our working assumptions. At the same time, the recovery, possibly in the second half of the year, or next year, is also part of our baseline expectations.
On the other hand, RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das met managing directors and chief executives of credit rating agencies through video conferencing on Thursday. The governor sought credit rating agencies' assessment of the macroeconomic situation and their outlook on various industries, including the financial sector. To support the economy, Reserve Bank of India has already eased monetary policy by cutting policy rates and providing liquidity through long-term repo operations. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
So bearing all this in mind, what the PM had to say to captains of industry, to the corporate world in Kolkata today becomes very important, because essentially what he's done is he spelt out Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, if you look at what the PM said and break it down, he very clearly said that India will have to stand on its own 2 feet. It won't happen without that taking place. India needs to reduce its dependence on other nations. That is what self-reliance really means. Now, the focus needs to be on manufacturing goods India is compelled to import at this stage. So, some sort of import substitution is required. There's a need to swiftly become exporters of goods India imports at this point. So, it's very clearly headed in that direction. That is what is needed. It also needs to stop importing goods which India's MSME sector can produce, because it employs a lot of people. Apart from that, it generates resources for the government as well as for the entire country. There's a need to take the economy out of command and control mode towards plug and play mode. So that is the kind of transition that is required. He's also said that we need to adopt use of indigenous handicraft and goods produced by crores of people working in self-help groups. Now, this is meant for everyone, not just for the industry. He's also said it's time to become vocal for local. This is meant for the entire nation, that we all have to push for this endeavor. Time to make every village, town, district, state and nation self-reliant. In their own self, they have to be as self-sufficient as possible. Corporate world should help all stakeholders involved in their supply chains to come out and weather this crisis in the best manner possible. That's what the PM has advocated. The goal of self-reliance has been paramount in policy and practice of the country in the last 5-6 years. That's what the PM put across as well. The corona pandemic has now taught us a lesson on how to speed up the goal of self-reliance. Attaining that goal needs to be speeded up as well at this stage. Now, he said, use RuPay card for creation of self-reliant India. That is something that India has come up with, and more and more people should be using that as well. Apart from that, UPI as well is a good medium, especially when it's all about social distancing these days. The government is committed to people-centric, people-driven and planet-friendly development. That's something that the PM underlined as well. So that's how self-reliant India will be achieved, and we'll be talking about this further as well in just a bit. Stay with Newsnight.
डीडी फ्री डिश, भारत की एकमात्र फ्री डीटीएच सर्विस। अब देखिए आपके अपने पसंदीदा चैनल, डीडी न्यूज चैनल नंबर 1 पर, डीडी नेशनल चैनल नंबर 2 पर, डीडी भारती चैनल नंबर 60 पर और डीडी इंडिया चैनल नंबर 84 पर। डीडी फ्री डिश, मनोरंजन का संसार सीधे आपके द्वार।
Let me share that Amit Kutti, a 16-year-old sensation, he won the E-Series during lockdown.
It feels realistic to how a real car feels. So when you feel the car, you can feel the car slipping or drifting. I've been wanting to participate a lot in these esports tournaments, and I just got that idea and I decided to approach the league and got myself signed up. The more you spend, you can get more immersive.
It's a proud moment when our drivers go and win in another series, like you said in the.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsnight and we're talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. That's the vision that the PM has once again talked about as far as captains of industry are concerned by video link in Kolkata, because it was at an event, a plenary event of an industry body. And at the same time, you have these rating agencies, both Fitch and S&P, saying that things may not be great this year for the economy in terms of growth levels, but next year itself, they are seeing a spurt, Fitch as much as 9.5%. So that is the context for our In Focus tonight, which is Crisis to Opportunity, the Atmanirbhar Way. And to talk about it, we have Dr. Rajiv Singh. He's Director General of ICC. Its plenary session, 95th, was being addressed by the PM today. We have also Sanjay Kumar Singh joining us, Senior Journalist, and Ashok Kumar Bhattacharya, Editorial Director, Business Standard, as well with us. First, to you, Dr. Rajiv Singh, in terms of what the PM had to say at the ICC plenary today. Do you feel that that is motivation enough in terms of what the government has done, especially in the recent weeks, particularly during the lockdown? The finance minister has made announcements, the stimulus package, 20 lakh crores. Do you think that is impetus enough for the industry itself to take up the challenge of taking bold steps, as the PM said now, and making investments and moving swiftly towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat goal?
Absolutely. I am absolutely confident that whatever government has done over past few weeks is a strong message to the industry and to the investors that government is looking at growth. Government wants to bring back growth, and the feedback what we have from the members, that members are highly motivated with the address today, the policies which they have seen being rolled out, the reforms which they have seen. So I think overall I'm highly positive about industry taking up the challenge and going for bold investments.
Right. Ashok Kumar Bhattacharya, you must have been watching this space as well very, very closely. Do you feel that already you see some sort of green shoots that might have been nourished because of what the government has done in the recent weeks, some activities picking up?
Well, as the economy opens up, in a sense, after almost about 2.5 months of kind of a strict lockdown, as the economy opens up, you will see some activities coming back, trying to come back to their pre-COVID levels. We've already seen some increase in the petroleum consumption levels. The month of April saw the petroleum product consumption go down by about 60%. That fall has now been arrested to 35%. Now, I guess in the month of June, you will see a further fall in the decline in the consumption level. So maybe from July onwards, you will see petroleum product consumption coming back to the levels that prevailed before the lockdown. That's one sector. You have seen the automotive sector representatives, a person like Mr. R.C. Bhargav, who is the chairman of the Maruti Suzuki Limited. His problem is not about demand. His problem is about supply. So right. Clearly, from the industry point of view, what I can see from various representatives talking about in public is that demand at this point in time is an issue, but right now industry is still has to struggle a few more weeks before they can put together a supply chain, supply line by which they can resume the production to meet at least the pent-up demand. So I think that's the first primary challenge. And I think in this meeting, in this challenge, you need the kind of policy support that the government has been talking about, has assured. I think it will. The key is how quickly and how effectively those policies are implemented. I do think that the private sector has got a big deal from the government in terms of the government's public sector policy. And if that public sector policy can be implemented in good time, I would see that for the private sector, this will be a new area of opportunity where they will get more room for play. Similarly, I think there is a need to approach the self-reliant India vision with caution, because there can be the possibility of industry, and given industry's past track record, becoming secure in the comfort of protectionism. And I think that will be a danger that we must avoid, because tariffs and protectionism will go contrary to the idea of a self-reliant India. And I think the spirit in which the government is trying to promote Atmanirbhar India is not to raise, the protectionist walls. And actually, the Prime Minister quoted Tagore, and Tagore is known for advocating the need for dismantling, the barriers. So therefore, I think Atmanirbhar India privatization policy plus taking care of the demand side as well as the supply side will be the areas which will require more attention. So I think that's broadly the way I would look at it.
I can see that Sanjay Singh is listening very intently, but before I come to you, Sanjay, let me go back to Dr. Rajiv Singh and just ask him in terms of what AKB said, do you agree with that perspective in terms of how the government has done a lot to ensure that the industry gets a helping hand, especially the MSME sector, but there are still issues that need to be worked out? And if you could enlighten us on what are the measures being taken to ensure that that happens.
Yes. I think the way self-reliance has to be looked at, it should not give undue protectionism to the industry. Rather, the focus has to be on building the competitiveness. I think industry has to compete on price, quality, delivery, and the brand. And these are the areas which really need to be worked at. And when Prime Minister Modi talks about self-reliance, I think what he also means is that we still have a global vision. It's not that we will dealing from the world, we will engage with the world. His approach is very, very inclusive, yet we need to build our own capacity. Like I would say, the example of solar. Now, India has already surpassed the commitments which India gave at the COP session. And still, a lot of solar panels are being imported.
Yes.
Now, those solar panels can definitely be manufactured in India. And especially in areas where technology is a big barrier, there are companies representing US, Korea, Japan, who are willing to look at India. So you can always partner with the companies. And there are imports, huge imports in terms of the electronic equipment. So the new ESDM policy of Government of India really encourages Make in India for the electronic companies. Now, these are products which definitely reduce your import bill. Your fuel import bill goes down, your electronic import bill goes down. Similarly, there are sectors which are employment intensive, like furniture, textiles,
yes,
leather. Now, those sectors, India already has its proven strength. But if industry can really look at the supply chains, how do you ensure that your goods leaving India reach your customer in the shortest possible time, or maybe at par with the rest of the economies? Also at the good competitive price, the quality also matching as per what the people need. And the last point I would say, in the process, we also need to build Indian brands, because even now we don't have many global Indian brands. Once we have the brands which are known globally, I think we will be able to compete better. And those brands will also give us a lot of backward linkages to the small scale sector and also to the farm sector.
Right. Now, Sanjay Singh, if I could come to you and ask you in terms of what this really means in terms of the messaging that is taking place across the country, especially when these rating agencies have painted a fairly encouraging picture, if not for this year, and one can really understand why that is not happening. It's just not possible. For the next year, it is a dramatic spurt that is being projected, and that will carry a lot of meaning beyond economics as well into politics too.
Gaurav, at a time when many people are predicting gloom and doom for Indian economy and in society at large, it is very important that Prime Minister does things to regain popular confidence and instill confidence among people. Today, if you look at it, it was also very important for me that this particular meeting was being held in Bengal, and Prime Minister was present there through virtual means, through digital means. And that itself was a message that he is not kind of bound by partisan politics. He is going to West Bengal, go through digital medium, and also talking about Northeast. He had for long been talking about Look East policy, and today he talked about Bengal, and he talked about Northeast, an area which is broadly forgotten in terms of industry and economic development by successive governments for far too long. Second thing, when he talks about bold investments, big bold decisions, he is also trying to say at times you know that you are good, but somebody has to tell you that you are very good and you can win this particular trophy and you can win this race. Don't be conservative, don't be hesitant. Prime Minister was doing that and also conveying a message that government is there to back you up. Some changes in MSME's definition has been done. Also, some packages have been announced. It is time that confidence is restored among captains of industry and business. This message not just only goes to the captains of industry and business, this also goes to people at large. And there the basic message is we know that these are very difficult times. Numbers of COVID patients are rising, but economy also has to revive. We have to look up. Haar ke aage jeet hai. We have to go with this message. And therefore, I think it was very significant for him and for the captains of industry and business that he came out with very statements that would energize these employment givers, employment generators, and also get into areas where so far people usually were not very kind of were slightly either reticent or hesitant to talk about it.
Right.
Say if Haldiram Bhujia from Rajasthan could kind of be a global brand, but there are good things also in other parts of the country, but unfortunately, they did not or could not make it so. With confidence gaining, with some backing from the government, with some other kind of inspiration, things actually can look up. So therefore, the rating agencies and PM talking at this point in time, I think that's a healthy sign.
Right. Ashok Kumar Bhattacharya, just help us understand, all our viewers as well, in terms of what is really the import of these rating agencies coming out with their reports, and especially when there's a bit of a convergence between two of the largest global rating agencies, Fitch and S&P, in terms of how the recovery could really be almost V-shaped for India, because that's what the data seems to, the estimate that is, it indicates.
You know, I'm not too excited over the growth recovery that they are projecting for 2021-22, because once an economy contracts to an extent of 5% or 4%, as these rating agencies are predicting, a recovery of that nature is par for the course. I mean, if the economy of India's size, diversity, complexity, and strength goes in for a kind of contraction of that nature because of the COVID and the lockdown, I would be very, very surprised if we don't bounce back with 8 or 9% growth the next year. So that does not surprise me. What surprises me, and is a positive surprise, is that the Standard & Poor's and Fitch have held our rating at the current level of investment rate.
Right.
And that, I think, is something that needs to be really recognized, because what they are noting is that India's external sector continues to be very, very buoyant. They are actually projecting an external current account deficit, which will be close to around 1.1%, which I don't think in any crisis here in the past we have seen our external sector having behaved so resiliently. So I think the resilience of the external sector and the rating agencies, I would say, a very mature response, because the whole world is going through, all governments are going for fiscal deficit being widened, and therefore the Indian government's fiscal deficit widening is a cause for concern, but they are saying this is par for the course once again. So I would say that if you look at all the three rating agencies of the Moody's, which downgraded us a few weeks ago, but they brought us at the same level as Standard & Poor's has kept us, and Fitch. So all the rating agencies are now placed India at just a notch above the investment grade, but they are projecting higher growth. But the important point is that they all believe that Indian economy has the inherent resilience to come back and bounce back and play the kind of role that its potential has always suggested.
Yes, and these are, of course, agencies that have multiple exhaustive criteria for assessing a particular economy. And Sanjay is saying that it essentially then boils down to people themselves in terms of how they see things for themselves and their perspective. If one is optimistic, one would be very happy with what AKB said in terms of the credit worthiness, the level that were assessed at BBB for Fitch and BBB negative for S&P. And if you look at the data projection for GDP growth levels, again, one could say that I don't know if that's going to happen or not, considering the current situation. If one is a pessimist, but if one is an optimistic, one can accept that and one can work accordingly.
Yeah, precisely. AKB is very respected editor and economic analyst, and I completely agree with what he says. This is a bad time. Everybody knows that. There are job losses, there are economic losses, and there are some sort of societal tension could also be there as a result of all these. What is very important that you keep your patience, you keep your hopes alive, you keep your confidence, and move on. Try and do something and try and come out better. I think in several situations, people who have had smart thinking, they have come out. Some people have done good in any crisis situation. Some people have not. Some people have vanished. Some people have gone up. This is, I think, the time when Prime Minister, in fact, he means what he says. And he himself does few things which inspire confidence in people and the segments of society he is talking to. And therefore, I thought this was very important that he took this meeting to West Bengal and talked it from their perspective and talking few things about the areas which economically we are not advanced, backward, so to say. And therefore, the two things coinciding, the ratings, also recovery may not be very fast, would not be very fast, that everybody knows. But if you go on right direction, the recovery would be there.
Right, let's hope that happens. I know that it is tough at this time, and everybody acknowledges that it's universal, and it's different levels of toughness for different sectors as well, different kind of people involved in different jobs, but it's all about perspective, it seems, and right now the perspective is positive as far as international rating agencies are concerned, and the direction is being given by the Prime Minister. One has to be self-reliant. Atmanirbhar Bharat is the mantra, and the industry is now saying that it will follow on that mantra, the path that the PM has shown, and let's have a situation where we soon have results of that as well, positive ones. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening. Ashok Kumar Bhattacharya, Sanjay Kumar Singh and Dr. Rajiv Singh, Director General of the ICC. We're taking a quick break at this point on News 9, but more still to come as far as a lot of the facts that one is now being confronted with, which are simply fake. We will, of course, blow them to smithereens as well right here on News 9. Stay tuned.
पक्की होगी बुनियादें तो हंसे हिंदुस्तान होगा करो शुरुआत करो
वंडर सीमेंट, एक परफेक्ट शुरुआत।
हमारा डेजर्ट आ गया पर हमारी चैंपियन नहीं आई अब तक। बिल भरने के पहले तो आएगी ना। सो गर्ल्स, क्या हो रहा है? बिल हो रहा है। चल अपना कार्ड दे। पिन दे।
RBI कहता है अपना पिन, OTP, CVV या इंटरनेट बैंकिंग पासवर्ड किसी को ना दे। ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग सिर्फ अपने ही कंप्यूटर, मोबाइल और सिक्योर नेटवर्क से करें। हाँ, ये खाने की चैंपियनशिप थी क्या? RBI कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
उष्ट्रासन, वज्रासन से शुरू करें। घुटनों पर खड़े हो जाएं, जांघों को सीधा रखें। घुटनों और पंजों में कुछ इंच की दूरी रखें। श्वास लें, सिर को पीछे झुकाएं, दाईं हथेली को दाईं एड़ी पर और बाईं हथेली को बाईं एड़ी पर रखें। पूरे शरीर का भार भुजाओं और पैरों पर होना चाहिए और श्वास छोड़ें। इस स्थिति में 3 से 10 श्वासों तक बने रहें। श्वास लेते हुए प्रारंभिक स्थिति में लौट आएं और विश्राम करें।
योग संयम और संतुलन है। योग निराशा को आशा और विश्वास में पलटता है।
Welcome back. Now, the BJP is celebrating the first anniversary of the second term of the Modi government with a series of virtual public events at the national, state and district levels. The day saw senior party leader and Union Minister Prakash Javadekar addressing a Jan Samvad rally in Gujarat by video link, where he assured the people that the centre is doing everything to fight the COVID pandemic. The day also saw BJP workers distributing copies of a letter written by the PM to people in his constituency, Varanasi.
On the first anniversary of Modi Government 2.0, Bharatiya Janata Party is holding virtual rallies across the nation. Several online events are being held at national, state and district levels. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Prakash Javadekar addressed a Jan Samvad rally in Gujarat via video conferencing on Thursday. He assured the people that the government is doing everything it can to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Praising Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Javadekar said that he took the right call by announcing a nationwide lockdown at the right time. Javadekar also hailed Prime Minister for announcing major economic relief package for the welfare of the people.
मोदी जी ने ये संकट आते ही 1,70,000 करोड़ का पैकेज दिया। इसमें 80 करोड़ लोगों को जिनको राशन मिलता है, 3 रुपए 2 रुपए में चावल और गेहूं मिलता है, उनको 10 किलो और अनाज और 2 किलो दाल मुफ्त में देने का फैसला किया। गुजरात ने भी दिया।
Highlighting the achievements and major decisions by Prime Minister Modi, Javadekar said that opposition created a ruckus over decisions like the Citizenship Amendment Act. He also said that schemes such as Jan Dhan Yojana, GST and pension to labourers uplifted the poor and strengthened people's faith in the government. Targeting Pakistan, Javadekar said that it will never be successful in its devious plans.
जब भारत पर थोड़ी भी नजर तिरछी करी पाकिस्तान ने, तो सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक भी किया और जब समय आया तो बालाकोट में एयर स्ट्राइक भी किया और बता दिया कि हम सहन नहीं करेंगे।
Meanwhile, in Prime Minister Modi's Lok Sabha constituency Varanasi, party workers have kick-started the work to distribute Prime Minister's letter to each house under the supervision of BJP Varanasi Chief Mahesh Srivastava. Party workers are ensuring social distancing and other safety norms.
अंत्योदय जो लक्ष्य है प्रधानमंत्री जी का, उस पर लगातार काम हो रहा है। इसलिए सभी अपने मतदाताओं को प्रणाम करते हुए अपनी 1 वर्ष की कार्यकाल की उपलब्धियों को उन्होंने भेजा है। इस पत्र का घर घर हम सब वितरण करके आज काशी क्षेत्र में आज इसका उद्घाटन किए हैं।
A Parivar Sampark Abhiyan will be held in Uttar Pradesh from June 11 to 15. BJP is already holding Jan Samvad with people highlighting the achievements of centre. Parivar Sampark Abhiyan, the outreach program, will be organizing events at booth level to reach as many people as possible. With inputs from Harikesh in Varanasi, News 9 Desk, DD India.
Now, the centre has asserted that the nation is definitely not in the community transmission stage of COVID-19 spread. Besides, India's first sero survey on COVID-19 spread has found that lockdown and containment measures were successful in preventing a rapid rise in the infections. But ICMR has added a word of caution. A large proportion of the population still remains susceptible.
India's first sero survey on COVID-19 spread has found that the lockdown and containment measures were successful in preventing a rapid rise in infections, but a large proportion of the population still remains susceptible. The Union Health Ministry on Thursday asserted that the country is not in the community transmission stage. The good news is that India's mortality rate is very low when compared to other countries and the global average. India's mortality rate per lakh population is 0.59, which is also among the lowest in the world. The survey found that infection fatality rate is very low at 0.08%, and infection in containment zones was found to be high with significant variations. According to Union government, states have to continue testing and tracing and keep up effective surveillance and implement COVID-19 containment strategies.
लो हैं, बचे हुए हैं, हम सप्रेस करके दिखा चुके हैं, लेकिन आगे ये वायरस आ सकता है, हम ससेप्टेबल हैं, इसलिए हमें अपने लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए, अपनी कम्युनिटी के लिए, अपने देश के लिए वो स्टेप लेते रहना है जिनका कि बार-बार जिक्र आप सबने भी आगे बढ़ाया है और इस मंच से भी आप सुनते गए हैं.
The sero survey has found that 0.73% of the population in district survey had evidence of past exposure to COVID.
India is such a large country and the prevalence is so low that we have found that the prevalence is less than 1% in these small districts. In the urban areas it may be slightly higher, in the containment areas it may be slightly higher. But we are definitely, India is not in community transmission, and I would like to emphasize it is not in community transmission.
Meanwhile, India's COVID-19 recovery rate has shown an improvement. The recovery rate now stands at 49.21% as against 48.37% on Wednesday. Moreover, the number of patients recovered presently exceeds the number of active patients in the country.
हम देश में रिकवरी रेट में समय के साथ इजाफा पा रहे हैं. आज देश का रिकवरी रेट 49.21% है. इसके साथ ही एक बहुत ही पॉजिटिव न्यूज़ यह है कि नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट रिकवर्ड अब वह नंबर एक्सीड करता है नंबर ऑफ एक्टिव पेशेंट से. आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टू हाईलाइट कि नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट रिकवर्ड एक्सीड्स द नंबर ऑफ एक्टिव पेशेंट्स. एज ऑन 11 जून हमारे देश में 1,41,028 इंडिविजुअल्स क्योर और रिकवर हो चुके हैं.
According to latest figures, 1.4 lakh people have been cured and discharged till Thursday, while the active cases in the country stand at 1.37 lakh. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And let's now take a look at this important video on home quarantine.
Home quarantining is a protective measure that can slow down the spread of the coronavirus. Let's see what a home quarantined person should do. Stay restricted inside a well-ventilated single room, preferably with an attached separate toilet. The quarantined person should stay away from elderly people, pregnant women, children, and persons with comorbidities within the household. Under no circumstances should the person attend any social gathering. He should definitely avoid sharing household items. Wear a surgical mask at all the time. The mask should be changed every 6 to 8 hours and disposed of. The used mask should be considered as potentially infected. If another family member needs to stay in the same room, it is advisable to maintain a distance of at least 1 meter between the two. Only an assigned family member should be tasked with taking care of the person. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces in the quarantined person's room. Clean the clothes and other linen used by the person separately using common household detergent and dry. Use disposable gloves when cleaning the surfaces or handling soiled linen. Strictly no visitors should be allowed. Everyone should wash hands as often thoroughly with soap and water or with alcohol-based hand sanitizer. In case the person being quarantined becomes symptomatic, all his close contacts will be home quarantined for 14 days and followed up for an additional 14 days or till the report of such case turns out negative on lab testing.
Now, the Vande Bharat mission, one of the biggest evacuation drives in the world, continues to bring back Indians from all over the globe. In the ongoing third phase of the mission, a special repatriation flight to Chennai took off from Bahrain on Thursday with 180 passengers and one infant on board. Meanwhile, in another repatriation flight the same day, a special flight to Kozhikode took off from Doha with 177 passengers and 7 infants on board. This was the 23rd flight from Doha under Vande Bharat mission, bringing the total number of repatriated passengers to 3,860 plus 117 infants. Also, a repatriation flight to Delhi took off from Muscat on Thursday with 177 passengers and 4 infants on board. The passengers expressed happiness at the evacuation and thanked the Indian government for the effort. And under the Indian Navy's Samudra Setu operation, naval ship INS Shardul brought back 233 Indians to Gujarat from Iran on Thursday, where they were stranded due to travel restrictions in view of the coronavirus-induced lockdown. The ship set sail from Bandar Abbas port of Iran on the 8th of June with these 233 Indians, mostly fishermen from Valsad district of Gujarat, and arrived at Porbandar port on Thursday. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the evacuated personnel were entrusted to the care of state authorities after reaching Porbandar. Now, India and China are maintaining military and diplomatic engagements to peacefully resolve the border row at the earliest. The Ministry of External Affairs and a spokesperson has said that both sides had agreed to work for an early resolution to the issue in keeping with border guidance provided by leaders of the two countries for ensuring peace and tranquility along the border areas.
In order to address the situation in the areas along the India-China borders, it was agreed in this meeting that an early resolution of the situation would be in keeping with the guidance of our leaders. The two sides are therefore maintaining their military and diplomatic engagements to peacefully resolve the situation at the earliest, as also to ensure peace and tranquility in the border areas. This is essential for the further development of India-China bilateral relations.
Well, moving on, if we would talk about what is happening as far as the country is concerned in the education sphere, where IIT Madras, IISc Bangalore and IIT Delhi bagged the top 3 positions among educational institutions in the country in the HRD Ministry's National Institutional Ranking Framework announced on Thursday. The top 10 higher education institutions in the country included 7 Indian institutes of technology. According to the annual rankings, IIT Madras retains first position in overall ranking as well as in engineering. IISc Bangalore, JNU and BHU ranked top 3 universities. IIM Ahmedabad has been ranked as the top B school in the country. AIIMS Delhi occupies top slot in medical category for the 3rd consecutive year. Miranda House retains the first position amongst colleges for the 3rd consecutive year as well. Maulana Azad Institute of Dental Sciences, Delhi, secures the first position in the dental category. Now, a lot of fake news is doing the rounds on social media, and we're getting you some fact-checking. Well, a message circulating on social media claims that the National Scholarship Portal is offering a scholarship of 10,000 rupees for college students. PIB Fact Check has said that it's faked. This message is false and misleading. Beware of such fraudulent websites. A claim has also been made in a news report that the central government is preparing to sack 5 lakh central government employees. But PIB Fact Check differs. It says this report published by the newspaper is false and misleading. Beware of such fake news. And there's yet another claim in a photo being circulated on social media that the complete lockdown can be implemented again in the country from the 15th of June. with a ban on train and air travel by the Ministry of Home Affairs. But PIB fact-checkers again identified this as fake and warned that one should be beware of such misleading photos spreading fake news. Let's now get you some global updates. Well, Turkish Airlines and its budget carrier Anadolu Jet have resumed some of their international flights to Germany, Britain and Netherlands, only carrying passengers with approved documents. The outbound flights could only carry passengers with EU citizenship. Leisure Airlines, Sun Express, a joint venture of Turkish Airlines and Lufthansa, said it also started flights to Germany and Switzerland upon Civil Aviation Authority permitting. Budget Airlines Pegasus said it will start operating two-way flights to certain destinations in Germany by the 13th of June. COVID-19 has killed more than 4,700 and infected more than 1,70,000 people in Turkey. Now, a far-right Norwegian man was jailed for 21 years for the racially motivated murder of his Chinese-born stepsister and attempting to kill worshippers at a mosque in a shooting spree. Philemon House expressed strong anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim views before last year's attack and was unrepentant at the trial. The 21-year prison term, the steepest available for the first-degree murder and breach of anti-terrorism laws, also contained a provision that his release can be put off indefinitely should he still be considered a threat to society. Now, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the United States has topped 2 million to reach 2,464,000 on Wednesday. The country's death toll for COVID-19 has also risen to 112,908, with the hardest hit New York State reporting 30,680 deaths according to the CSSE. Some states have seen a rebound as the U.S. recovery has accelerated, with Arizona and Texas both reporting record daily new cases on Wednesday. Florida also saw record weekly new cases. California recorded the highest number of hospital admissions since the 13th of March. Eric Toner, an expert at Johns Hopkins University's Center for Health Security, said parts of the country are seeing a new wave. Russia's investigative committee has said that it was investigating the head of the remote Arctic city of Norilsk for suspected criminal negligence over his handling of a major oil spill in the region. A fuel tank at a power station in the city of Norilsk lost pressure in late May and leaked tons of diesel into rivers and subsoil, an incident Greenpeace compared to the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill. President Vladimir Putin last week declared a state of emergency in the region. And now let's get you a rare sports update as well. Well, Madrid streets are dressing up in La Liga colors as competitive soccer has returned after the coronavirus pandemic brought Spain's La Liga to a grinding halt. Jerseys of Spanish top-tier soccer clubs are a rage again in the shopping street in central Madrid. The league kicked off in empty stadiums as fans were not allowed to attend. The season was postponed on the 10th of March due to the outbreak. Sevilla and Betis restarted La Liga in an Andalusian derby which played behind closed doors at Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium. And that's all we have for the time being tonight. But before we wind up, here is a story which has melted hearts across continents. How would you feel if you cannot meet your newborn baby? Words would seem incapable to describe that feeling in that situation, and no amount of words would be enough to describe the joy that an Argentinian couple felt when they met their child 71 days after he was born to a surrogate mother in the Ukraine. The wait was finally over for a couple from Buenos Aires, Jose Perez and Flavia Lavarino, on the 10th of June as they met their baby son Manu for the first time. Lockdown meant they could lockdown and closed borders meant that the couple had only seen Manu in videos and photographs as they waited for the special government permission to travel and get him.
है ज्यादा सफेद। फेना
100 में से 70 लोगों ने फेना सुपर वॉश को अपने डिटर्जेंट से बेहतर पाया है।
अब आप भी लीजिए फेना सफेदी चैलेंज और